Welcome into a victory edition of Spits and Suds. I'm Gavin Spittle of 1053 The Fan, joined by our NHL insider. It's early in the morning, but he still sticks around for us. It's EP Ringside. It's Shap Shots. That's his Substack, which you should subscribe to after listening to this podcast. He also writes for D Magazine. It's Sean Shapiro.
We're doing this. We're doing this, Gavin.
We're doing it.
Let's
Ready?
do it. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Mine got all foamy there. That's fine.
So about the goaltender interference. Listen.
Yes.
What a roller coaster ride.
Mm-hmm.
And congratulations for the second straight year. The Dallas Stars are going to the Western Conference Finals against either Vancouver or Edmonton. And when you looked at the first two periods of this game, boy, there were certainly some doubts in my mind, Sean, that we were coming back to Dallas for sure. I just didn't feel as though they had good energy, good legs. Heck, it was only 1-0. So kudos. Your goaltender was awesome tonight. Mm-hmm. Their goaltender was really good as well. It had so many turns. Superstars were on display on both sides. I wish TNT had focused a little bit more on Wyatt Johnston as far as just talking about him as a whole, because I think, some of the plays he made tonight were outstanding. And, but overall, I give you the forum, sir. It's a celebration. It's awesome. I almost gave up on the game tonight. I really did. I was so upset. I mean, my dog started barking because I was so mad. It reminded me of Des Bryant against Green Bay, where I said, I have to go for a walk because I was just so frustrated. Yeah. And we'll spend time on it.
Yes, yeah.
But to me, the NHL explanation after the fact made me even more frustrated. So, sorry. Yeah. Took your space.
No, it's good. No, it's good. No, let's put it this way. The better team won.
Yes.
The game. The better team won the series. Fittingly, poetically, the player that was incorrectly called for goalie interference scored the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
In the end, the result of the game is the one that was deserved. And we don't always get that in sports, right? Yeah. Especially hockey. We don't always get that. So I think the one thing we can just take a deep breath on in this moment is what should have happened in the end, even though it took an extra 25 minutes of hockey, happened. So that's the important thing. What should have happened, what should have happened to end this series happened. The Dallas Stars advancing, and now get to wait and watch to see whether they're going to play Vancouver or see who's going to be coming to Dallas for Game 1 next week of the Western Conference Final. So the right thing happened. That being said, this was and you know me, Gavin, I'm not a big rip the officiating guys.
No,
I'm not. But it was also a night where, and this is one of those games where if the Stars do this thing, they've got 8 wins, if they get 8 more, and it's crazy to think about, right? If they do that, this is one of those games where you will talk about how this team overcame adversity in various ways. So let's go through the reality of it, okay? Yes, the goalie interference call that was called back. That's a big obvious one. 4 minutes, 23 seconds left in the third period. There are 6 Avalanche skaters on the ice. Clear as day. No call. The penalty that Matt Duchene took for cross-checking, he was actually offsides before the play, and so the play should have been blown dead before. Now, he did commit the cross-check, but still, at the end, that play should have been blown dead. This was one of those games where I think the NHL is not rigged, people. The NHL is not organized enough to rig it the way people think, right? It's just not. But tonight was a night where, on those rolls of the officiating dice, everything went against Dallas, and the Stars continued to be the better team. They were the better team for the whole series, and they advanced. So this is one of those games where, when you look back at the history of this team and how many more wins they get and what happens down the line, this will be one of those games where you're circling it like, okay, this is where another team would have crumbled, and they didn't. So that to me is the big takeaway from the legacy of this team, because that's an important part of this. All of that junk happened, and they still advanced.
I actually think it made them mad.
Yeah.
I actually think it gave them life and energy. I mean, they were playing pretty good before that, but I mean, I just felt as though after that they really controlled. I mean, Colorado had limited chances, and basically overtime belonged to the Stars.
Yeah.
I mean, Avs had some chances, obviously, and Ottinger made some good saves, and Georgiev made some good saves, and it was a fun overtime, and I mean, thank goodness it didn't continue, because I think we would have had 10-second shifts. It was amazing how quick these guys were getting off the ice. I agree with you. I thought the officiating was bad. Listen, I understand that the referee from behind can call that cross check, but I took a still shot, and the other referee was about 6 to 7 feet parallel to that, so he could see the magnitude of how hard, if it was actually a hard cross check. I thought it was a light call myself, but at the same time, I agree with you. Clearly offsides before that.
Yep.
And there are little things too. And listen, I'm sure the Stars got away with some, but on a Mason Marchment where he just misses and Taves takes his stick and whips it up and catches Marchment, that could have been called a high stick. There were just some plays that I think they a lot of times hid their whistles when they could have been called, and other times I thought they were quick on the whistles. So, karma, and what an interesting evening for Matt Duchene, who struggled at the beginning and was a part of that line juggling, Sean, and then had the goaltender interference and then came back with the game winner. And I'm just happy for him as a person, starting his career in Denver as one of their top picks in franchise history, and playing so well in Denver and then getting traded to Ottawa, because of a contract dispute. So, I think it's you could see how excited he was. And for a guy who is, I believe, never played in the Western Conference Finals, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I want to double check that real quick, because I'm pretty sure you're right on that. He's got the, I mean, he's someone too who's kind of had a maturity point in all of his, there was times before where Matt Duchene would not have been. Yeah, the closest he came was in
Columbus, right?
Yeah, in 2019 when they reached the second round there.
Yeah.
But he's a guy who, I know this from a couple of years back. Matt Duchene was kind of on the Stars no-go list of he's a guy that they would never consider. And based off Duchene's growth and maturity, right? He's 33 now and everything, and the Stars culture in general, it became a spot where he did fit here. And this is why you go and, what did we probably used this line at some point, Gavin, on a podcast and back in September or October or whatever, when we're talking about the Matt Duchene contract. And at that time we're talking about, you know what, when you find that step scoring, the guy who scores the overtime goal when you need it, that'll be worth the that'll be worth the buyout rate of the contract. And he was worth more than that already, but tonight is a payoff of that. So
yeah, no, I totally agree. And it was nice in so many ways. And like I said, karma is a big thing. So many kudos to go around on this team. So many players came up large after just the whole team. I felt as though, kind of got out of the gate slow. But let's start with the Pete DeBoer decision. And I think, Sean, you and I have had candid conversations. You said you don't want to focus too much on a sixth defenseman. And I totally.
Tonight,
I'm not saying that in a bad way.
I know tonight it applies though.
But tonight it does apply, and that whether it's coincidence or not, Pete DeBoer pulling that trigger for this specific game came up massive because, Petrovic I thought played really well. I loved his size. I think I thought he took several Avalanche off the puck at times. I thought he handled the puck well. He wanted to get it out of the zone. I need to look up his official ice time, Sean, but it was
16:25 for him.
Yeah. I mean, that's better than 2.5 minutes. In fact, Petrovic played more in the first period than Nils Lundqvist did all of last game.
Yeah, I mean, Petrovic was at 8:30, I think, by the end of regulation, and he played base, and then, and it's interesting because it's funny. I was texting with our good pal Steven Meserve before the game on this. The person who actually is more egregious, and this is the only place you're going to hear this, so I wouldn't be egregious. People are going to think, oh, Nils Lundqvist was benched. To me, kind of the funnier thing is Derek Pouliot's the one that got passed over. Derek Pouliot was the one that was called up to be the seventh defender at the start of the playoffs, and they never trusted to play him in this position. Alex Petrovic. Now, one of the reasons Petrovic was ready to jump in, and so let's explain why Petrovic was ready to jump in. And I think this is a huge point, okay? Alex Petrovic, in 7 playoff games with the Texas Stars, had averaged 21-25 for the Texas Stars. Playing power play, playing penalty kill, every situation. So, when it came to someone stepping into a playoff series, it is a more veteran player who's been around the league. Petrovic has. I know he only played 1 NHL game this year, but he's been around the league for a while. And someone who has been playing playoff level hockey and getting those minutes for the last 2-3 weeks. This is one of the beauties of your AHL team still continuing to play. This is one of those where it's a shame the Texas Stars are out, and I think your AHL team can only go so far when your NHL team is also good. But Texas going as long as they did, it creates an asset in Alex Petrovic stepping in and playing, and it's not shaking off rust. It's, hey, he played a playoff game 4 days ago or 5 days ago, whatever it was. So that was huge. And so, to me, where this makes the biggest difference is tonight, those minutes you needed, right? You needed goal was scored at 11. So you had 90 minutes of hockey tonight, right? So you have 180 minutes of hockey to go to your 6 defensemen. If one of them has only taken 3 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever Nils Lundqvist would have been, just pile those further onto Miro Heiskanen, onto Thomas Harley, who had a bit of a rough night, or pile them further on. And you have because of limiting the wear and tear, that by actually being able to play a 6 defender, no matter who it is, and they acquitted themselves well, that's a big thing. I mean, at the end of the night, you had one team was more well-rounded. Every single player on Dallas played at least 14:58. Radek Faksa played the least amount, 14:58, and that's basically a reflection of kind of the Stars' usage of on what happened with the penalty kill and everything like that. Colorado, huge discrepancy between the haves and have-nots of who played and who didn't when you look at the forward lines and everything. And I mean, Matt Duchene, we talked a lot about the defense, but Matt Duchene having the depth and energy to win that battle when he's played 27-37 against Nathan MacKinnon, who's been out there for 36-32. Those things, little things, they add up. And it's...
Yeah, you could tell that Colorado was gassed at the end. I mean, both teams were, but Colorado was really gassed. In fact, at that goal, McKinnon didn't even move.
Yeah.
So it was, I mean, just from a sports emotional standpoint, it was an amazing theater tonight.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at times, but now when I look back, I guess I'm back in on hockey.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I mean, it was a great game. Honestly, it was it is a game that is it was two really good teams. I mean, Dallas was the better team. Let's be clear on that. But I think it was two really good teams, star players on both sides going back and forth, and it was a classic game. It was just I know I don't like that. I like that the right team won at the end, because it would have been horrible if the wrong team won based off what that interference call happened in the first overtime. But this was a great hockey game. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Jake Ottinger on the night finishes with a .967 save percentage. Very impressive. You know what's really interesting, Sean, is, and obviously in a 2-1 game, people are going to be left off the score sheet, but straight across zeros for Logan Stankoven and Wyatt Johnston, and I thought they were absolutely outstanding tonight. And the pressure that they put on and the forecheck, they are so, I don't want to say hard, because the physicality isn't necessarily there as much as the hustle and the energy, and I'm mixed in with some physicality. So I thought those guys played real well. I thought the fourth line gave you some moments. I
want to give Stan. I like they mentioned Stankoven, because there was a play. When I go back and I pull stuff from this game, and I just there's a lot to pull from this game. It is. I look at the play with about 3:08 left in regulation. Defenseman jumps into the play. Wyatt Johnston actually turns the puck over. Colorado's a rush going back the other way, and Logan Stankoven covers for his defenseman, forces the play wide. Shot goes wide, and it's go to the right of the net to Jake Ottinger's right, and Stankoven is there to clear the rebound before Casey Middlestat can get a good whack at it. Like, that type of play right there is, to me, that is the type of play that was not in the score sheet, will probably get lost in the grand scheme of a 90-minute game, but that's why that kid is trusted to play at this stage by Pete DeBoer. He got into the NHL because of the points, but he stays in the lineup and he's trusted because of that stuff. So, yeah. I mean, when you look at the minutes he's played, and then you're like, wow, he hasn't even been here the whole year. Amazing.
Yeah. The NBA playoffs are here, and we all know playoff mode is a thing. Listen to the evidence. Playoff crowds are going wild. Playoff players are lighting up the court. Even your speakers are in playoff mode. Okay, we'll take it down a notch, but just a notch, because this is the Turn It Up to 11 NBA playoffs. Playoff mode is clearly a thing. The NBA playoffs presented by Google Pixel continue on ABC, ESPN, TNT, and NBA TV.
The founder of Panasonic once said,
"We can lead more meaningful and constructive lives
through the pursuit of activities that will ensure
a better today than yesterday,
a better tomorrow than today."
Panasonic is committed to creating a greener,
more equitable future for everyone.
Explore Panasonic Green Impact
at na.panasonic.com/green impact.
Do you have weak, damaged hair? New Garnier Fructis hair filler systems fill hair with strength 7 layers deep. In just one use, you can reverse up to 1 year of damage to hair smoothness. The sulfate-free hair filler plus vitamin C G system gives you up to 79% stronger hair and up to 4 times less breakage. New Garnier Fructis hair filler is available now on Amazon and at Walmart, Target, Ulta, drug, and select grocery stores.
All right. We have a ton of feedback. Thank you so much. Sean has to get to bed at some point, but I'll stay with you all day tomorrow. because I need to get back into this hockey thing after I quit earlier tonight based on the NHL. Robvius, Duchesne with the huge goal. How about Pavs with the touch pass? He's still coming up big in key moments. I'm not sure if he meant it, Sean, but it was, yeah. I mean, hey, listen, the fact that he was grinding in there, a lot of credit. The effort is certainly there for Pavelski.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he was actually good tonight. I thought Pavelski was good tonight. I thought it was, even before the input at the end of the night, it was a nice game to see from Pavelski, because I think he had much more of an impact even before the final play there, but it was throughout the game. He looked, I don't know if we call it veterans, whatever you want to call it. I thought he looked better tonight. So
yeah, Evgeny Dodonov too, Sean. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you can say in these opportunities that he's been given. I mean, not just getting on the score sheet once again, but a massive shift in which he blocked 2 shots, went down and came across, and he blocked another one, and then needed help on the ice and getting off and went into the room. I mean, that will get you a lot of points.
Yeah, Dodonov's been really good for this team ever since he came in, right? Like, he's been one of those guys who came up, and he didn't get his goal tonight, but we've talked about it on other shows before, Gavin, of him having that, like, great opportunity and then scoring later. Like, he didn't actually get the goal tonight, but, like, his chance in the first period, 6 hours ago, whatever it was, where he hits the post, and then in the third period, he goes on the line with Ben and Sagan, and he tees up Ben for that goal. You talk about a guy who I think one of the great things about Dodonov is no matter where you slot him, he finds a way to succeed. And that's something that this team needs. Part of this kind of a contending team, a team that is now in the Final Four. You need guys like that help everything else get smooth and going and everything like that. So
I go back to the veteran presence of Dodonov in that when he was healthy, scratched a few times during the year and then inserted into a fourth line role and really kind of played well for a couple of games in that fourth line, and was asked about it and asked about, leaving the lineup and coming back in. And he really made it a point in this post-game interview to say, I just care that the team wins. That's what I care about most. Yeah. And to me, I was so impressed by that, because he had every right to say, I was disappointed, but, I'm glad I got a chance to get back in there. He didn't even go in that space. He wanted to make it very clear that he was with this team, whether he was playing or not, to win. And I just thought that was a classy veteran move. Okay. Brian, let's see. Let's go to Tequila first. Petrovic wasn't spectacular, but he was solid. 16-25, being able to find some solid minutes in next series, which is likely for Suter and to be determined against bottom 6 lines, will be a nice luxury for the Stars D. Best guess for Nils minutes had he played tonight, 8 to 10, maybe, Sean? That's what Tequila's asking.
No, I mean, we saw
4.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him play. We saw his Game 5, Nils had 3 shifts, 2 in the first, and then Pete gave him the 61-second shift at the end of the game. So it is a. I mean, if he had played tonight, 4.5 minutes maybe, and all of them in regulation, he would have never gotten his touch enough. They would never have trusted him in overtime.
Right. Yeah. Brian Tatum says, by the way, even though we ultimately won, I still really distrust the league right now after that call. I'll keep my tickets for now, but I won't forget that call anytime soon. That wasn't managing the game. It was trying to determine an outcome. Sean, we both agree that it was the wrong call. I think
it's a terrible. Sorry, no. No, I'm saying it's a terrible call.
Yeah.
It's a terrible call. Call it what it is. It's awful.
Yeah.
And that's okay to call it that. But here's the other thing. Those officials will probably not move on to the next round. Right. Every single official is graded and everything like that. Those officials will not move on to the next round. The NHL is like the NHL. You can be upset with how the NHL run things. You can be upset with how the league handles things and their inconsistency. And I think that call should be called out. But the NHL doesn't, at the end of the day, the hockey ops department of the NHL doesn't make decisions on who they want to win or lose. That doesn't happen. Like that's not the way the things are going.
Right.
There is, I mean, if that were the case, I mean, there's so many other things. There's so many things that have gone against quote unquote top franchises that if the NHL isn't gifting those to them like it. So it is. I get the frustration. It was a terrible, terrible call. The league botched it completely.
Yes.
The moral of the story. Yeah. Let me my one piece on this. My one moral of the story of this is the league decided, and we've talked about Dave Jackson before, and this wasn't an ESPN broadcast. I am so happy this wasn't an ESPN broadcast because can you imagine the defense of this call if it was on ESPN? I mean, we would have been told how it was the gutsiest call ever. And so I'm so glad this wasn't an ESPN broadcast. But basically, the league botched it completely, where they go in and they got it wrong, and they doubled down on it. And there was calls in that Florida Tampa series, or in the Florida Boston series, where lesser things were. I mean, other things became goals that should have set the standard for this to be a goal.
Yeah.
It is a terrible call. And it's also, at the end of the day, people who think the NHL is rigged, you're giving the NHL too much credit. The league is not that organized. Like they can't get their schedule out. They can't get their games to start at time. You think they're organized enough to figure out who actually wins the game? So
well, yeah. I mean, goaltender interference, Sean, is reminding me of the NFL with the rule that you have the right to challenge pass interference. And there were hardly any, if any, pass interferences that were overturned. They just didn't want to do it. Here's what the Situation Room explained. The statement says, and there's one part of this that just sets us all off.
Yeah.
So here's the explanation. Video review supported the referee's call on the ice that Dallas's Matt Duchene impaired Alexander Georgiev's ability to play his position in the crease prior to the puck entering the Colorado net. The decision was made in accordance to Rule 69-1, which states in part, goals should be disallowed only if, 1, an attacking player, either by his positioning or by contact, impairs the goalkeeper's ability to move freely within his crease or defend his goal. Sean, crease was mentioned twice.
Yeah.
And that is what I am most infuriated with. If you kept that out, I still disagree with the call, but to play his position in the crease, and then you said within his crease in the same explanation, Matt Duchene never entered the crease. Georgiev left his crease.
Yes.
That's what frustrates me.
Yeah. I'm just laughing at the league justification for it too. Like it doesn't make any sense. So it's hard. It makes life incredibly how are you supposed to how, as a coaching staff, as a video coach, the people responsible for doing these, the person responsible for challenging something or whatever, right? Like, how are you supposed to know what is right and what isn't? Like, this is,
yeah.
Here's my biggest thing about it. One of the bigger things that came out of goals that were allowed before was they were like, oh, we want the goalie to actually fight through it, right? We want the goalie to actually try to play through it. Georgiev quit on the play. That's his own fault.
Yes.
That's his own fault for quitting on the play. Okay? Just he quit on the play. Goal.
Yeah.
Series over. Just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. And just so the NHL could know, it's the part that's painted blue. That's the crease. Just letting you guys know.
Yes.
Okay. The Stars have the toughest road to the Cup, and they are bulldozing their way through it. Who wants next? Okay, Sean, I'm going to say this. I went back, and I have still yet to find a team that has beaten in the first 2 rounds the last 2 Stanley Cup champions. Now, there was a period, and it's a bit different, where, and you remember this, where LA was playing Chicago. One year, LA went on to win the Cup. The next year, Chicago went to win the Cup, and they did play each other during the playoffs in consecutive years. But 2 consecutive Stanley Cup champions being dethroned by one team, I couldn't find it. So, I mean, I guess I could go back to the 70s or 80s, but I stopped after a while because, super impressive. You beat a team that used LTIR to their advantage, and it's legal, so that's fine. Heck, the Stars kind of did it as well. But not as egregious. But, you play by the rules that are given you. So I think we do have to stop and pause and say, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm saying is that you're in the Western Conference Finals, and no matter what happens, you knocked out 2 really good teams.
Yeah.
And you were the better team in both series. So, man, I get fired up by that stuff.
Are you ready for another fun, fascinating fact?
Yeah.
I know some people don't. People try to add weird modifiers to the bubble run in 2020 and everything like that. But the Stars have been in the Western Conference Final now in 3 of the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Where there was actually a Western Conference. So think about it. Like in 2021, right? It's a Montreal Tampa Cup final because of the weird Canadian division. Right? There was no Western Conference that year. It didn't exist. It was a weird COVID year. And so this is like, you talk about kind of realizing what a franchise and team has done. And we're talking about this run right now in this show and this game and everything like that. But 2024, Stars are headed to the Western Conference Final. 2023, the Stars are in the Western Conference Final. I know 2022 doesn't go nearly as well and everything like that, but team goes to the Cup Final in 2020. Like, in 2021's a weird year where there's no Western Conference. Like, what this team has done with some changing parts too and everything like that, it's definitely worth celebrating. And there's more there. Like, it's part of the whole. It's going to be part of the bigger Stars story, right? On everything in this, is going to be one of the reasons they got here. Is the bubble in 2020? It's the reality. It's part of what formed the DNA of this team. It's where Jake Ottinger was a backup to Anton Hudobin. It's where Thomas Harley first learned what the NHL playoffs were. It's where Jason Robertson kind of was around a team. Like, I know they were weird years, but there's this legacy of what this team is and this group. And it goes beyond just what's happened this May so far, in April and May so far, and now we'll continue into June. Like, this is, or I think into June. I got to figure out a calendar, but it's the Stars organization. There's a ton of credit for what they've done in the past 5 years, doing with all of this adversity, all these things out of their control. So maybe it's kind of fitting that you had to go through things out of your control tonight with a couple bounces against you. You had to go through things out of your control, like getting Vegas in the first round when no team should have ever had to get Vegas in the first round. It was good. Things like Colorado getting another Cup champion in the second round because of the ridiculous playoff format. So this team overcoming things out of their control to advance, this is part of the DNA of this team, and it should be celebrated.
Yeah.
I hope I made a salient point. I was just rolling.
No, you did. You did. Because, I mean, Jake Ottinger credits the bubble for a great learning experience. Yeah. And those young guys. And let's fast forward to today. Yes, it is these moves are common in the NHL, but don't underestimate the call up of Bixel and Bork after the season. Of course they do that, right? Yeah, I understand it. I get it. But at the same time, that is rich, valuable experience as far as how to act and how to be around the boys and learn from them so that you can be a part of it in the future. So they got Calder Cup experience in the playoffs, and then they move on, and now they're up at the NHL level. Granted, healthy scratches, but at the same time, I do think there is, being around the team and a comfort level that sets in as well, so that if they do make the team next year, they know how to act. It's not as fresh, so to speak.
One of the good examples for how being around the team launches futures. A lot of people don't like Marty Turco was not playing really on that Marty Turco was a black ace for the Stars in 99 and 2000. I want to hold on. I know for 2000 for sure. I just want to make sure I confirm that. Let me get that. Because I believe in making sure we have everything right on this show. Yeah, in 99. In 99, Marty Turco was a black ace with Dallas when they won the Cup in 99. He was a black ace with that team in 2000. He and Brendan Morrow both were. That's a future captain and a future starting goalie that probably should have won the Vezina Trophy, who learned and grew from just being around that. And the way Jake Ottinger took things from the bubble run in 2020, the way Thomas Harley got his first ever NHL experience, NHL playoff experience, fittingly against Colorado in a seeding game in the bubble. Those things all pay off in the long run, and it's like this franchise is on the right track. And I'm not just saying that because the better they do, the better this show does. It's just the reality that they are on the right track.
At William Willow 2, Miro looked like he only played 15 minutes at the end. His legs are crazy. Official time for Miro Heiskanen tonight, 38 minutes, 26 seconds. That's almost 2 full periods. Sean, will he hit the bike before he goes to bed tonight?
He will, because that's Miro, and it's
unreal.
There's some sort of scientific thing to it about the legs calming down and everything, but it's still crazy. So
I was wondering that. You know how us amateurs, we play an event and then you drive home, and when you get out of your car, you're like, ooh, I'm a little sore.
Yeah.
I mean, the plane ride from Colorado to DFW, I would think when they get up from that plane, they were probably a little sore, right?
Yeah.
Or is it just a constant soreness this time of year?
Yeah. I honestly would wonder, and this is just a random thought I just had right now. I would wonder if and I don't know what the players would prefer, but I would wonder if this is the spot where maybe you flash your money as an owner, and you just book another night of hotel rooms.
Yeah.
I don't know, and maybe the players would prefer to fly home and be in their beds, but just I don't know. That would be the type of thing where I'm never going to have billionaire problems, so I don't know. But if I'm Tom Ghilardi, knowing that my team just booked at least 2 more playoff home revenue dates, maybe you reward him with saying, "Hey, we can get a nice 8 hours of sleep in the hotel before flying back tomorrow."
Yep. We haven't talked about this yet, but Group brings it up. The third period lines look so much better And the extra rest for Rope is huge. How about Petrovic basically tripling Nils minutes? The boys seem prime. Vancouver seems like the worst option. What's your premature preview? Sean, can we officially talk about this now?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely can. It's now you get to watch, the tomorrow night's game between Vancouver and Edmonton and it impacts you as a Stars fan. You're either looking at Vancouver winning, and then it's so I've been doing some reporting and texting while we've been doing this, Gavin.
All right, nice.
So I've got some things for us. So here, if Vancouver wins tomorrow night, we are probably looking, if Vancouver wins tomorrow night, because they're up 3-2, right? If they win tomorrow night, we are looking at likely a Tuesday, Thursday, game 1 and game 2 at American Airlines Center.
Okay.
If Edmonton wins tomorrow night, there will be a game 7 on Monday. There is no way that the Western Conference, you're not doing a team with a 24-hour turnaround. And Wednesday night, the Eastern Conference final starts on Wednesday. So the NHL wants those schedules to be staggered as possible. Wants a game every single night. So if there is a game 7, there will be game 1 will probably be Thursday night in Dallas. Okay. There is a concert at American Airlines Center on Saturday night. I have been told it is not the level of concert that is large enough not to be moved for the Stars game, is what I've been told. So, let me get the name of the concert real quick for everyone as we're doing
But
this.
while you're saying that, we also have to contend if the Mavs clinch.
Yeah, but isn't the thing with the Mavs though, right? Like they're at a spot where
They'll be the away team.
They'll be the lower seed still, right?
Yeah.
So yes, there is a Melanie Martinez concert booked for Saturday night. If I have been told that Melanie Martinez concerts do not clear the bar for not being moved for a potential game 2 of the Western Conference Final, so that could be moved to make that all work. So
man, you know what would be awesome? Play it during the day and see what the ratings would be.
Give me the honestly the noon start. Give it a. I mean, it's an interesting one because so we know one thing for everyone who's listening for this. One thing we know is, ESPN this year got first pick of which conference final they want. No matter what was going to happen, they were always going to take the East because, and this was even before the Rangers are a rating king, but they were always going to take the East because there was a guarantee one of the series. There's a guarantee there would be a Western Canadian team in the Western Conference Final with Edmonton and Vancouver playing each other. And as nice as it is to be like, oh, Connor McDavid, best player in the game, yada, 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 yada. You know what? The Edmonton TV market does zilch for ESPN or Turner. No one cares. You're not you're not getting, so ESPN took the Eastern Conference Final and they're going to get the Rangers being in the conference final is just going to be off the charts ratings wise. I'm telling people that right now. That's what the Rangers are. They're that behemoth. It would have been even bigger if it was the Bruins too. Rangers Bruins would have been ridiculous. So Stars versus a Western Canadian team. It's going to be all on Turner. So get ready. And if you like the Turner crew, that's great. You get all of that. The other thing I want to tell people right now, and I just want to get this on the record right now. Nobody wants a Canadian team in the final. So if you think you're I'm just prepping right now. So when people come at me in the next round and they're like, "Oh my God, the Turner crew wants Vancouver or Edmonton to win or whoever it is," they do not. They do not. They want the American team to win. It's much better for ratings. So already stuff that out. So yes. Yeah.
I mean, Dallas, New York would be. I think Dallas, New York would do well. Two large markets. I think it would gauge a lot of interest. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And listen, I think as an NHL fan, I think we all need to take a step back and say, it's good for the league when the Rangers are playing like this and when the Rangers are in the Stanley Cup final. That's if they do make the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
Because Florida is pretty awesome as well. All right. Sean Court says, cheers, boys. Frosty and a dance party in this house. Well, nice. Court, invite us over, and we will join that dance party at some point. Thank you so much that you're drinking a Frosty. Millsy says, great win. Jake Ottinger stole this one for us. Nice bounce back after the no call. This team has depth, the goalie, and the resolve. Let's go. And he has a picture of Frosties tapping each other. So that's sweet. Did we talk enough about Jake Ottinger and the difference? Because, Sean, you weren't able to join us the other night, but you obviously saw that tough third period for the goalie and just once again showing the resilience in a bounce back game.
Yeah, he had a great bounce back game. He was really good tonight. He had the one goal against is I'm a bit critical of the one goal against, but overall, I mean, you look at his performance in overtime, some of the big stops. I thought there was, to me, the biggest save Ottinger made. There's two key moments in this game for me with Ottinger. First one's way early. There's a stretch where Dallas goes about 10 minutes and 23 seconds without a shot on goal. And during that time, because I've got it in my notes here, during that time, Ottinger stops. Hold on, I want to make sure I have this right. So during that time, where's my notes here? Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So he stops McKinnon on the rush with 2:34 left in the first period. A minute later, he flashes the right pad against Casey Middlestat. And then a minute after that, he stops the rebound chance from Arturi Lehkonen on the rush with McKinnon. That sequence right there is huge. Getting Dallas to the first intermission 0-0 is huge there. Then, and by the way, the amount of times I've mentioned Arturi Lehkonen just tells you people how good Arturi Lehkonen was in this series.
He really was good this series.
Yes. And so in overtime, Ottinger has in the first overtime, there is the double, and I know Parise technically misses the post on the left side, but there's the strong arming that rebound chance against Parise there to hold him off. And then in the second overtime, he kind of loses his net. And that's the goal where you think, oh man, this is where he's going to lose it. And then he uses his athleticism to get back and stop Lehkonen again. I mean, Ottinger to me there was a couple key moments where you're like, okay, this is made amends for this, there even being a game 6. He made amends tonight with what he did to close this out so that the next, there's always going to be another game in Dallas after this, but it was always a question of whether it would be a game 7 or a game 1. And he made sure it would be a game 1.
Arturi Lehkonen has 3 more years remaining as a Colorado Avalanche player at $4.5 million. So
yeah. That's a great contract.
Perspective. It's a very good contract. Yeah. He really performed well in this series.
This episode is brought to you by Thomas's.
Thomas's presents Pondering the Bagel with Tom.
Oh, the paradox of the bagel. 'Tis crunchy yet soft, 'tis filling yet has a hole. 'Tis a vehicle for spreads, but only travels from toaster to plate. Thomas's, huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. In breaking news, leading scientists worldwide are conducting experiments to determine if Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolate. However, it appears the study was inconclusive, as the scientists couldn't help but eat all the Reese's. Because when you want something sweet, you can't do better than Reese's. Find Reese's now at a store near you.
Mare Bear says, Frosty's in Portland, Oregon. Nice. And it's a picture of her holding a delicious, it looks like a light Frosty, Sean. And she says there were some Avs fans at this bar, and they even think there was no goalie interference.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dutchie for putting the winning puck in the tower straight and not crooked. Remember, I like the hockey lingo. Nice. All right. Flo Wee, our man in Italy. Sean, did I tell you I'm going to go visit Flo Wee in Italy?
No, you didn't tell me.
Yeah, I'm going to visit every Spits and Suds listener. So I'm going to go to Portland and visit Mare Bear. And then I'm going to go to Italy for Flo Wee. I'm going to go visit. We have a listener in Australia and then our boy in England. So I was talking with him the other day, and I'm going to go see a Manchester Storm game.
Oh, there you go.
I know, huh? I know.
Yeah.
All right. Flo Wee says, how are the vibes in DFW? All Mavs, or have the Stars some attention to them as well? I will say this. I will speak for 105.3 The Fan. Sean, lots of Stars talk.
Yeah.
Lots of Stars talk. Lots of guests. We had Eddie Olchuk on the other day. That was really cool. He joined us. Sevy's joined us. Brian Ray was on today. Ludwig, of course, joined us. So I've popped on the air several times. So it's been a really, really cool kind of mixture of Stars guests. So that will continue into the next round. Flo Wee, Woody, looking ahead, who would you rather play, Canucks or Oilers? Sean, who would you rather play?
Well, that's a great question, because I think neither of those. I think Dallas is the better. I honestly think Dallas has gone through the two tougher opponents.
Yeah.
When it comes to depth, either way, like, to me, Colorado was a tougher team than both of those teams. Vegas was a tougher team than both of those teams. Now, Edmonton has the best player in the world. I think Vancouver also has a dynamic where, like, Vancouver to me is an interesting one, because I think Thatcher Demko is a very fascinating equalizer.
Yep.
If he comes back, and like Arthur now Seelovs or Shelovs, as I've said, I need to learn how to pronounce it if Vancouver advances. But he's been a great story. But to me, getting Demko back, changes that series.
Yes.
I don't think Edmonton is ever getting a goalie. It's a nice story that Calvin Pickard played well, but like, that's like, to me, the Vancouver has I think Dallas is a better team than both those teams. And if there's a quote unquote equalizer that I worry about, it's Vancouver and Thatcher Demko coming back.
Yes.
But
I want Edmonton.
Yeah, I would prefer Edmonton, and I think this is the same thing as, it would be nice for the Stars to watch Edmonton win tomorrow, and no matter who it is, it'd be nice for there to be a Game 7 on Monday. It would be nice to be on the other side of the rest versus rust scenario. Like, Roope Hintz, I don't think Roope Hintz is playing Game 1 of this series either way. I really don't
think so either.
But there's a much better chance of him playing Game 1 on Thursday than there is on Tuesday. So
yes. Yanni Hakanpää was on this trip. For what it's worth. So well, I mean, we don't know. But
we do know that, but Petrovic also, from a perspective of rushing someone back, Petrovic made it kind of clear that you don't have to rush him back tonight. So credit to Petrovic on that. So and
Simon Cave.
Well, real quick, one more thing on Petrovic. Oh. This is a guy who played one regular season game with Dallas.
I know.
That's it. Like, it's to step in and do what, like, that is a ton of credit on that too, because it is a big deal.
Yep, absolutely. Simon Cave says, crack that beer. Yeah, we are. Yeah. Love it. Kelly Thurman, so glad the waved off goal doesn't matter in the end. Jake Ottinger has answered all the questions. Happy to not be playing on Sunday. Yeah, you never want to go to a Game 7. Doesn't matter if it's in your barn. But you never want to go to a Game 7. Colorado would have. I know a lot of people don't like to use the term momentum, but I think Colorado would have, let's just say, a lot of confidence coming into Game 7 had they won tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Clem Fandango. This entire podcast should be about Jake. Well, we made a bunch of it about Jake. Yeah. Brendan Heights. Was the disallowed goal from a set play? And if so, can you break it down? Broadcast seemed to indicate Stars were huddling near the circle before the face-off that led to the goal.
Which goal?
The disallowed.
The disallowed goal.
I think that was a set play, wasn't it?
It was. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah. While you do that, Sean, we will go over the pond to the man that I just mentioned, Adam Deacon, who says, well, Gavin, I have now been up for 25 hours straight. Understand he watches these games at 4 or 5 a.m. Watched the Bruins game with my son, then went to hell and back watching the Stars. Fantastic effort by the team. Hope Duchesne kicks on from here and begins to dominate. We have a fantastic opportunity to do something special.
Yeah. I got the video up if we want to go through this real quick.
Yeah, let's go through it.
Let's go through it. So we'll go with Telestrator, even though it's just audio. So it is you have on this play, it is so one of the keys is clean face-off win, right? It's a clean face-off win right back to the left point. And there's a little pop-out by Marchment. And so what the set play part of it is, a lot of times Marchment's job on that play is to charge forward and charge the net. Even whether win or lost, you're going forward. On this play with the clean win, and I guarantee you it's kind of a read and react play for Mason Marchment on it. It is a play where if Dallas wins it clean, he pops out about 6 feet back. So instead of jumping in, he's basically stationary for the pass to receive and shoot. And it sets up the little kind of one-timer or the quick snapshot from the slot instantly while the center drives the net. So that's kind of the set play part of it. Like that's the one where it's a set play that's dependent on winning the draw clean, which Dallas did, and it's just a little kind of pop-out play where it's funny to see this because like I like that Dallas does more of this last year because this is something that Jack Eichel killed Dallas on in the playoffs in the 2023 Western Conference Final. And Eichel almost killed Dallas in the first round, but one of the things Eichel really did against Dallas last year was there were so many little pop-out plays, little plays where he would be in and then out by about 4 feet to create those little pockets where he would either pass or shoot. And I think Dallas has kind of learned from being on the other end of it. And so, yeah, it's a little set play where it kind of sets that up, and it should have won them the game. I go back to it should have won them the game, and that's. But they won in the end. They still won in the end. So.
Also, want to throw in this little tidbit. We talked about Colorado and Vegas. Vegas winning the Stanley Cup last year. Colorado the year prior. Also, two great coaches, Jared Bednauer and Bruce Cassidy, Sean. And Pete DeBoer needs a lot of credit as well. It seems like he's pulling the trigger on a lot of great things, and obviously winning the Central Division, setting records for most wins on the road. Pete's a well-traveled man in the NHL, a well-respected man as well. Players love him. You could see that. We shared the video on the handshake line, how many Vegas players were super. While they were really disappointed, they were happy for Pete. And you could tell the exchange that there was a great relationship there. So I just wanted to stick tap the coach as well. And as well as the coaching staff who's put in a lot of effort. And those are two great coaching staffs that you overcame to advance to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah. Yeah, it's these are two. So it is the first. I did get some NHL stats and info on this, Gavin, what you had looked up earlier. So this is the first time in the expansion era a team has defeated the last two Stanley Cup champions. It happened in the original 6 era, but since 1967, this is the first time a team has defeated the last two Stanley Cup champions. So
this is why he's a beast. I spent hours in front of the computer. He spends 5 minutes and he pulls up the stats. All right. Green Bay of Texas props to you guys for doing a post-game show at 1 a.m. Well, it's a little later than that, but we'll take it. Yeah, we appreciate your service. This team is just chock full of great storylines. Duchesne getting the game-winning goal over his former Avs is just another layer. Loving this run. Happy to keep the ball rolling. And go Stars. Yep, totally agree with you, Green Bay. Alan Nance, just mentioned him in Australia. The advantage of being in Australia is the game started just after noon. I'm sitting on that little bit of cushion that overhangs the front of the couch.
Yeah.
I'm so American, Sean. I'm like picturing a kangaroo like standing next to him or something. It's so stupid. I'm so American. It's so stupid. Oh my God. Or that's another shrimp on the bobby. That just typical American Westerner. All right, Alan. Hopefully you have a spare room because after Italy, I'm coming to Australia. All right. Soul Winner for Christ. And by the way, Soul Winner for Christ is a pastor, I believe, at Full Gospel Holy Temple. I looked it up. So that's awesome. That sermon will be awesome this weekend after this overtime win. So happy I could cry. My man, cry. Getting the chills like I did back in 99. You have to put this in your sermon. I hope and pray we get there again, then win it. The playoff run seems so epic. What a time to be alive. Heck yeah. Oh, all right. Sam Green. King Henry, while I didn't like his take on the no-goal call, as talked previously about the epidemic of goalies going into the butterfly too soon and not staying on their feet, seems like the case with the first goal on Jake. I know they can also be good, but still. Yeah, Sean, you mentioned that. And Henrik, I thought, did a really nice job pointing that out in between periods. I'll also say this, like Stars fans were kind of going after him for his opinion, which I think was wrong, and everyone else on the panel thought it was wrong. But you know what? It's okay.
I think it's part of the other key is to have conflicting opinions, and that's okay.
Yes.
That's okay to have that discontent on the panel. I think that's important. I'm okay with that. It is and the other thing too, and it's something that you got to remember. And this is not to say anyone is biased or anything like that, but just there is a reality, a human reality that we have to establish. Okay. Henrik Lundqvist's final NHL season, the 2019-20 season. There are 3 goalies for the Rangers: Henrik Lundqvist, Igor Shesterkin, Alexander Georgiev. This is a guy. So you're talking about a guy who is he talks about when in the broadcast when he's talking about Georgie, he's talking that's because they are legit human friends. So this is and I'm not. And I think Henrik Lundqvist does a really good job on the as of breaking things down. I think he does a really good job with a lot of things.
I do too.
It's also, the other thing to remember is I'm actually okay. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But I'm actually okay with the panel having that personality and rooting one way or the other. I'm actually okay with the panel doing that. I don't want it with my play-by-play broadcasters or my in-game analysts, but from the studio perspective, that's entertainment. And I think they do a good job of that. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. And he's incredibly handsome, Sean, and he dresses better than I ever will. So I actually think his personality shined this year. And, I like his thoughts, and I like that they have a goalie on the panel. So, all right, let's try to run through these as quick as possible. Kevin Lawler, the hockey god, set things right. Does this game show Petrovic takes it from here on out? Sprinkles. That is a good question, Sean. What are your thoughts on Petrovic continuing to play?
I mean, he's in until Hakanpää's healthy. That's that's what it is, right? I think it's the Stars when Hakanpää is healthy, they believe that will be their best lineup. So we'll see what and when that happens. So
okay. Let's go back to Tyler King. Puck don't lie. This team battles. Dadonov has been really good when it matters. How do we keep in the lineup when Hintz hopefully gets healthy?
Well, Dadonov's not the one who's coming out when Hintz is healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear. Foxa is the one that comes. Yeah, you just go back to because Foxa was the one that was the healthy scratch for game 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like no. So Fox only came back in for game 5. So yeah, when Hintz is healthy, Foxa comes out. It's not Dodonov. So
Sean, will you include my awful analytic that in your Substack that when the Stars shoot or are, how do I say this? When they have 30 or more shots on the board, they win. When they don't, they lose. Is that the worst stat you've heard in a month?
No, it's not the worst stat I've heard in a month, but it's is that a cut and dry line? I haven't even looked at that. Is it?
I'm gonna go back, but I believe it's pretty cut and dry. But I will go back and I will look.
Yeah.
We'll have to look at the Vegas series first.
Yeah.
But yeah. And by the way, I did do, not to digress, I did the homework and I asked Craig about how he knew when to retire.
Okay.
So I wish I knew the name of the guy. But basically one of the Stars players got pushed from behind and Craig grabbed him immediately. And Craig said for the next minute, I was ragdolled.
Ooh.
And I knew it was time to give up. And the player was Russian and he was 6'5". He played for a bunch of teams. And I said, Craig, the guy's 6'5". He's like, yeah, but I don't know that when I go in. So he said something I didn't know was he actually went down to coach in the minors and they said, bring your gear. And he said, why would I bring my entire gear? And basically they wanted to keep him fresh. And then they asked him if he'd like to come back. And he said no. So he actually would have played another year.
Yeah.
So that's the reason. He knew he had young kids as well. And he just felt as though even in that last year, he felt as though he lost a step.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was my homework assignment for you. Let's go. Star says, will crack my Frosty when I wake up and turn on Spits and Suds. Heck yeah. Question. First 2 periods, Avs were first on the puck, moving fluid. Stars couldn't break out or organize an attack. Was this purely one team wanting it or more, or were there coaching team strategies at play?
You mean talk about the Avs first period?
Yeah, the Avs basically the first period and a half, I'd say.
I mean, it was a desperate team. Let's call a spade, right? Like, it is a desperate team with their season on the line. So, I think that's part of it. I think Colorado had a pretty good start. I think, as we mentioned earlier, Ottinger was really good at the end of the first period there. There's ebbs and flows to every playoff game. This one took 5 periods of ebbs and flows, but Colorado was the better team in the first period. It's why you got scared there, right? Like, it's okay. That happens. So
yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Let's see. Adam Green, great team effort, resiliency, amazing stamina. Want to give an appreciation to Petrovic, who I saw pushing people around to clear in front of Otter when he was out there. Couldn't imagine 5 defensemen in high altitude and double OT. Pete DeBoer, got to give him credit for pulling the trigger when he did. The man sweater, interesting. What a crafty pass from Pavs to Duchesne to get the puck out of the pile for the OT winner. Amazing performance by Otter. Go Stars. Let's see. I love the adjustment. Thackman says that Pete DeBoer did in the third period, switching lines and the resilience after the bad call in the first overtime. Stick tap to coach and the team. Absolutely. Val says puck don't lie. By the way, that's Val, not Val Nichushkin. Jordan H. Will be interesting if it was Val Nichushkin. Jordan H. in Vancouver. Super happy to see 95 get a big goal after that mess. Yes. Fat Jimmy, loved the move by Pete to start Petro, especially given the double OT. I'm not sure the win could have happened with only 5 D-men. I love you guys at Spits and Suds. I mean, the fact that you're bringing this stuff up, your education level's awesome in hockey, that you're thinking about this kind of stuff. Let's see. Okay. Boy, yeah, a lot of bad stuff regarding the league that I'm just not going to mention. Howie, I'll never forget holding my newborn in a Denver hospital, watching Duchesne score in double OT. What a game. No way. Howie, you had a child. Congratulations.
Oh, congrats.
That's awesome. Howie's been with us all year. That's badass. I need to add Denver on my list to come visit Howie. I'm just going to do remotes all next year on Spits and Suds. Yeah. Clint Dickinson, has there ever been a more puck don't lie moment than Duchesne being called for goalie interference and getting the game effing winner in double OT? No, there is not. Frosties for everybody. Cheers. Heck yeah. Rudy, what a series, my friend. Back to the Western Conference Final. Still a long way to go for the good guys, but these first two series have been series that were fit to be Western Conference Finals matchups. Heck yeah. Rudy, welcome. I mean, Rudy jumped on the Stars bandwagon this year, I believe. And we've been chatting and everything like that. Super excited. Let's see. Billy Bell, Phenomenon Otter. Matt Purvis, given how Petrovic played, how many minutes he played, how in the world did not this happen until Texas Star season ended? I mean, I did think that, Matt, but at the same time, it is what it is. I know Sean and I have pointed that out. Let's see. Just a bunch of people saying karma. 2 words from our producer, Greg Finley, Jake Ottinger. So, Sean, that was a lot of comments tonight, and it's very late, but this has been wonderful, sir.
Yes, it has been. This is, we get to do this at least 4 more times. That's, that's the beauty of this, right? So it's...
how about that?
Yeah.
This is so interesting. I was talking with Adam, the listener over in England. In less than 8 hours, my Bolton Wanderers will play at Wembley Stadium in a one winner takes all to be promoted up to the next league. And if they lose, they stay in the same league. So I go from a double OT to a promotion game. So it'll be a wild roller coaster ride, a fun sports weekend. This has been tremendous. Sean, I can't say enough how awesome it is to have you along for the ride. Thank you so much for the sacrifice, because you have a lot going on. But hopefully people are subscribing to your Substack. And Father's Day is coming up. And that would be a wonderful time to buy Sean and Steven's book called We Win Here. By the way, Steven tweeted me tonight, Sean, and said, "Missed the goal. I was in the kitchen." And I told him to stay in the kitchen. All right. Thanks once again, my friend. You need to get some sleep so you can spend some quality time with the wife and the kiddos.
Now I get my Sunday all free. That's the other thing. There's no a nice relaxing Sunday. So that is the ideal setup here. So
yes. So Edmonton and Vancouver will go later today.
Yes.
And we will see what happens. Florida eliminated Boston tonight, so it will be Florida against the New York Rangers in a terrific Eastern Conference final tilt. So it's going to be some great hockey the next couple of weeks. For Sean Shapiro, I'm Gavin Spittle. Can't thank you guys enough. Did want to add, if you want to leave a review on Apple or whatever, and just talk about Spits and Suds, good or bad, we appreciate it. You know what? Good. Do good.
Yeah, good.
And I do like when a lot of you guys have said, I like Spits and Suds because of the people that are on this program. So that's a stick tap to you, Sean, David Castillo, Robert Tiffin, Leah Simakopoulos, Stephen Reserve, everyone that kind of rotates. You guys are all awesome. And I'm rambling at this point, my friend. So you're a beast. Congratulations. Finish the Frosty and get some sleep.
Sounds good, man. I'm looking forward to doing this again.
Absolutely. We'll give you a preview as soon as we find out, and then it'll be more Spits and Suds. For Sean Shapiro, I'm Gavin Spittle. Congratulations, Stars fans. You are going to the Western Conference Finals. Have a wonderful weekend. You deserve it after tonight's roller coaster ride, and we'll talk to you soon on Spits and Suds.